head. That way you kind of have everything turned in. And so that's kind of where we're heading there. The new assignment for today is assignment 15.1. It's one of our last assignments using variables in Onshape. So there's a video that goes with it. Somebody asked me to post the Edpuzzle version, but there's no question, so you don't have to do it. Again, one of the big things is making variables using that X command in Onshape. And then this time we're going to be making if you've ever seen like a child's toy where they put little different shaped kind of wooden shapes inside a box. So what that looks like, this is one version of that toy. And then this is kind of a round version of the same toy. So what you're doing is kind of putting together these the block holders, and then you'll be building the blocks as well. So nothing too complicated. The idea though is that we're using variables and formulas. So as we resize things, they kind of stay nicely centered. So let's take a quick look. I'm going to make a new document here. So I'm going to call this A15.1. And then normally we jump right in and start making the a sketch. So, you know, you're looking at this, you're like, oh, I could sketch that out. But again, we're not using numbers, even though all of these are numbers. That's not what we're doing. So what we want to do instead is define your variables. For a lot of you, it's going to be under the plane option. For me, it's on my keyboard. I can see it. But if I shrink my keys, it usually shows up under the plane option. Let me get a stray in. So to make a variable, we're going to name, I'll put it in the chat. We're going to make 4 variables, if I can find it. Yeah. So here's the variables. We're going to make 4 variables. Okay, so I'm going to make those real quick now that they're in the chat. So the first one is width, and the width is going to be I'm going to put it as 6 real quick. My units are in millimeters. So I'm going to switch over to inches now. I think I should just switch once and for all. So change this to not 6 millimeters, but 6 inches. Okay. So that's my width, and then I'll keep doing that. I have my height, which is going to be 4 inches. I'll do my width, height, and the next one is hole. So we're going to make some kind of where the shapes go through. We're going to call those holes. They're going to be based on this 1 inch number. And then the last variable I'm going to make is called extrude. And that's like a width. All right, that's my variables. Now that I've made all the variables, now I can start my sketch. So what we're shooting for is a 4x6 rectangle with a circle and a square that are centered vertically and horizontally. So all of these spaces are the same, and everything is centered. So to do that, we're going to use these dashed lines called construction lines, and we're going to use the what is it called? Dimension tool. So let's take a quick look at that. So start a sketch, going to go on my top plane, going to rotate to the top plane. So I'm supposed to draw a 4x6 rectangle. I like a center pointing one personally. So I don't care what sizes it is right now. What I'm going to do next is go to the dimension tool. This is going to become my height, and my height is going to be hashtag height. And say, okay. And that goes to 4, which is what we expected. The other side, I'm going to make this one hashtag width. And this one's going to go to 6. So now I've made my 4x6 rectangle. But again, it looks like I've used numbers, but I haven't. The next thing I'm going to do is place a circle on the left side. I like a center point circle over here. I'm going to change that diameter to 1 in a minute. And then I want a rectangular from the center over here. Okay, so that's my two basic shapes. I've already aligned them vertically because I did it on the center. If I didn't do it on the center, I could line up a line and make it construction line. I could set up lines like that and then dimension them. I'm not going to, but I could. What I do need to center for is this. Well, I need to set the dimensions of the shapes. So these shapes are supposed to have the dimension hashtag holes. So that's going to be 1. And then same thing over here. Dimension hashtag holes. And then one more. Hashtag holes. Okay, so that's my 1 by 1 holes. And then again, the last thing I have to do is space them horizontally. So I want the spaces over here in the middle and on the end to be the same. To do that, I gave you guys a formula, which is this thing I'm going to write down right here. The width minus the 2 holes divided by 3. So the width is the total length. I'm going to subtract off the shapes, and then I'm going to divide that area that's left into 3 parts. And that's the formula to find that. To do the next thing I'll do is do another construction line and go from the end of my circle to the wall. And I'm going to set this equal to that formula, which is, oh, it went a little crazy. Hold on a second. Which should be, let me try copying that one more time. So let me try to paste. So then I get this formula, which is the width minus twice the hole divided by 3. As I do that, will it take it? Do I have, oh, I got to change that one to holes. I don't have a hole. I have a holes. Now it takes it, and then it gives it the number 1.33. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, is do an measure the distance from the end of my shape to the square. And then I want to change this to that same dimension I just used, which is the width minus twice the number of holes, divide 3, and I get the same number. This middle, I don't have to do it because it already is the same number. And so I've made this very first part of the sketch. And then all that's left is to extrude it 2 inches, and then I'll be putting a screenshot in. So not super crazy hard. So extrude it to 2 inches. So finish my sketch, go to extrude, click on the outside shape. And then I'm going to set my extrude depth to /extrude. Oh, did I do extrude? Why is my thing not showing up though? We want to extrude. Hold on a second. Let me try that one more time. I want to extrude. I want to do hashtag. There we go. Extrude. And I spelled it wrong. It should be TRUDE, but who cares? So that's my block for the part 1. You'll be modifying this in part 2 to add another 2 inches to the width, and then add a polygon shape again, and keep all 3 of those new objects spaced out. Okay, that's it for me, guys. We got officially about 5 minutes. If you don't have any questions, you guys are good to go. And you can play with this quite a bit. You don't have to keep things square. You could go circular for the bonus if you wanted to.